On today's episode of researchers that are trying to convince people that the findings of their very popular research study are now wrong, we have Gabe Mirkin. In 1978, Gabe Mirkin published this book where he popularized the term RICE, rest, ice, compression, elevation. And for decades, everyone from doctors to parents, that was the recommendation. If you sprained your ankle, if you got hurt, you RICE it. That is until 2013 when this book, Iced, the illusionary treatment, was published. This book used very credible sources to show that ice, compression, and elevation actually delayed the healing process. The research was so solid that 2 years later in 2015, Gabe Mirkin went on his own website to say that RICE was wrong. Now the accepted thing to do following an injury is peace and love. Pause to read.